Hello, welcome back. Well, this is a little different video than what I usually make. This one, in regards to this piece of equipment that I bought a couple of days ago, a JFJ Icon disc resurfacer. So I didn't really want to get a resurfacer, knowing when I've asked other YouTubers who sell media, and I know they have resurfacers, on how much they were, and I heard anything from 1,000 to 4,000. I just don't get enough of disc media that needs resurfaced. In part, I didn't buy a whole lot that needs resurfaced because I didn't have a resurfacer. And two, it just makes it easier to just buy the stuff that's in much better, very good, like new and seal. You tend to get more money. Granted, there are things that are scratched up and you can sell just the artwork, just the replacement inlay. Sold one, I'll bring up a screenshot of it, for just the replacement artwork and inlay. And I have a couple more that are just the artwork and inlay. Or maybe because it's missing a disc is the reason why I bought those. I went to the miscellaneous barn a handful of days ago, and they gave me two empty cases that didn't have the CD, but it had the artwork in the inlay. So if people have the CD and or their inlay or their artwork is ruined or bad or whichever, read the instructions. Actually, it's real easy. Most of the writing in here is just more like a cautionary, and you only need to use 15 to 30 second spins. The other main part in here that it reads, for the first handful, when you have these new resurfacing pads, it says in the instructions to spin it 10 to 15 times at the 15-second cycle. And as what that does, that starts to wear this material down, and it becomes a little more abrasive, and it makes it easier for it to get into and remove some of the harsher scuffs. The other machine I have is this very generic Memorex, and I had another one that I got at a thrift store for $5 years and years ago. And these are like $30, $40 brand new. The one that I just threw out, the motor was dying. I mean, I took the spindles out and went in there, and it was pretty clean inside of everything, but it was just dying. It was spinning instead of going quick. It was just raw. So that wasn't going to do anything. So I go to learn that it's not only, well, it is the rotation, but it's also the heat. It doesn't, when spinning and gaining this friction, it doesn't increase heat a lot, but it does increase the heat, which softens the disc a little, which makes it easier for the pad material to go in on that and remove and scuff that rough edging off. But there have been plenty of times that I have acquired disc media that's scratched up, and I ended up with it. So I would run it through the buffer I had before, and however it turned out, I got a nice angled picture of the condition of the scratches and the condition of the disc and listed it. If you have sold the Resident Evil, that one would have been one that it wouldn't matter if I resurfaced or not, because one of the other discs was cracked, but I still got $50 for that. That Gundam one, I don't have it anymore to know, but I don't think that this type of resurfacer would do that. I think you'd have to go in and actually get that entire layer off, because all that spotting was just surface layer. Disc rot does not look like that. So if you're not familiar with disc rot, that's something you can look up. I don't have any discs that have disc rot to bring it up or show. Some of the other discs I have sold with me marking, and I would usually get like a little sticker. and or something, and I would put that in the picture. I would have the case and then the disc here, and I would have a sticker right beside it or a little piece of something right beside it. That way I would know when it would sell that that would be one of them that had an issue. So if the buyer gets the item and they're like, oh, it's really, really scratched, I would already know without me contending it, that it is scratched because I have that one part in the picture. Now, hopefully, I won't have to deal with that. I went in, and there is no easy way from your current listed to go in any sort of customized table, go into the category, or go into the refined. There's no easy way to bring up your items that you have listed at acceptable and good condition. So I had to go into my actual listings. So I clicked my account, went to other listings, went to DVDs, went to acceptable and good, and clicked that and found any that were acceptable or good. And then I just found a keyword in that, went to my main landing page, my listings page, typed that in the search, found it, and removed it. So I ended up removing 25 listings, and that was pretty convenient because that's usually how many I try to put up on a daily. These are the 25 listings that I had listed that were either good or acceptable, and there is a notation in the condition description that it was scratched, will need resurfaced, something along those lines. Doing the quick math, it was 900, maybe a little over, and what these were listed at and for. So if I can get 20% back out of that 900, 20% more increase out of this 900, that's almost $200. I paid $200 for this plus tax, plus the 4-year warranty through Amazon. This machine only comes with a 30-day warranty. So for $40 more, if anything happens over 4 years and it doesn't work right, or whomever can't repair it, I get a brand new one. Over 4 years. These pads and stuff, these aren't too bad. These ones last up to 2,000 cycles. The other one, the JFJ Pro, their pads only last like 200 to 400. So I paid the same price for the machine that seems to be newer and better, and I get the materials that last 10, 5, 7, 8 times longer, and cost 20% more when you buy replacement at just two of them. So when I go back to things that you could do to save yourself money, that's one of them. Why would I buy a machine that uses pads that it goes through these in the span of, arbitrarily speaking, 3 months, when I could spend $5 more? I don't know the exact price. I could spend $5 more for something that lasts 12 months. So I went ahead and tested the machine on 2 different discs. One I have that was not listed, and it did pretty fine. This is one right here. It did a fine enough job, and you're probably not going to be able to see it right there. So that's a little deeper scratch. This one ran through, I think I put it on 3 or 4 15-second scuffs or buffs, and that's what it came up as. So I need to run plenty of times to wear down the surface of the pad that's already in there. And so some of these are not going to get repictured and relisted just yet. So I have them just in an order of which I pulled them, and I pulled them by highest first, going downward, and I separated between the DVDs and the discs and the CDs. Another one that I resurfaced a handful of times, just because it'd be one that if it doesn't turn out well, I'm not pressed about it. If it turns out well, it's $25 to $30. Currently, when I took it down, it was listed at like $12. Is this Midtown Madness And I got this, and I went ahead and I gave the Salvation Army a nice lipping, because they will tape. They'll run like 8 layers of tape around every single disc media. Video games, computer games, audiobooks. They will just use half a roll of tape to seal it up, and they'll charge $2 or $1. You're using as much tape as what you're getting out of it. Well, we want to keep people from stealing it. If I can stand back there and if I can open them up by clipping my nail on it or using, my card to slice it so I can look. This one I bought on the whim, didn't bother looking, and I come back and it is scratched. So I gave them a pretty good lipping. And they're like, well, we're not responsible. What the you talking? Yeah, you're responsible. You saw the condition of it. You knew it was bad. You put it in the case. You taped it up. You put it up for sale. You know what that's called? Sales deception. And then you do what you can to inhibit people from opening it. Maybe I'll share the review I left on Google for them. But that is one that if I can, and then I have to wait for the pad to get a little more worn and worn and worn to see if it can get into some of these more deep scratches. You could use like your driver's license or credit card or anything like that where a scratch is, and if that doesn't, if you don't feel it, then it's just visually, well, it's more visually cosmetic, but it's not as deep as a scratch as what you perceive it to be, and therefore it's just a surface. Now, a deep scratch is a different story, which is going to have to be ran through these more often. So if I can get most of these, we're going to go with hopefully all, if I can get most of these buffed right, and they look good enough to where I can list it as very good, has a few minor surface scuffs, and if I can increase by, again, 20%, it's going to be more than that. This Soul Circus, that'll be like $60. So what I have to do is stop talking and start spinning and go from there. Disclaimer I should probably said in the beginning, I am not sponsored by JFJ. I'm not sponsored by any other brand name that you see here. This is just a machine that I started to look around for what I could find for a couple, for even if I had to spend like $300-400, I probably would have started saying this. And then I was like, oh, I have JFJ stuff. Let's see what they have. So I went to their website. They had a couple ones. I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay $18 shipping and all that. I went to Amazon, saved some money, and I got the warranty. So not sponsored. As for now, if you like what you heard, like what you saw, feel free to comment, thumb your thingy upward, subscribe, share. They're all free. Takes a second. Appreciate it. Thank you.